So hello everyone, I'm Rogelindi Muhammad. This is the continuation of chapter 21. Dito. During his exile in Dapitan, Rizal had a long intellectual conversation about religion with Father Pastels, which revealed Rizal's anti-Catholic sentiments learned in Europe as well as his embitterment at his persecution by terrible friars. It's reasonable that he was enraged enraged by the friars who committed various atrocities under the guise of religion. On January 20, 1890, he wrote to Blumentritt from Paris, "I want to hit the friars, but only friars who use religion not only as a shield, but also as a weapon, castle, fortress, armor, and so on. I was forced to attract their false and superstitious religion in order to fight the enemy who hid himself behind it." So, individual judgment, according to Rizal, is a gift from God that everyone should utilize as lantern to show the way, and that self-esteem, when controlled by judgment, rescues man from worthless conduct. He also contended that many roads that truth may exist, and therefore religions may vary, but they all lead to the light. So Father Pastel made every effort to bring Rizal back into the fold of Catholicism. He told Rizal that divine faith supersedes everything, including reason, self-esteem, and individual judgment. He argued that no matter how wise a man is, his intelligence is limited, and thus he requires God guidance. He denounced Rizal's attack on Catholic dogmas as mistakes of rationalism and naturalism, follies of misguided souls. As we can see in this debate, Rizal was bitter against the friar because they commit abuses under the cloak of religion. So now let's proceed to useful and peaceful life in Dapitan. Rizal lived a pretty simple life during his exile in Dapitan. When exiled, he was able to make his situation productive. With his own funds, he was able to put a school and dormitory for boys. He set up a clinic where he treated ailments and performed eye surgery. So, the most endearing, meaningful, and blissful life of Rizal while in exile, he fell in love and formed an intimate relationship with a beautiful young Hong Kong resident woman named Josephine Bracken. The Pitan became the bear witness in one of the most fruitful periods in Rizal's life, from June 17, 1892 to July 31, 1896. His stay in this province was more than just living in exile, for it was in this period when Rizal had been intent on serving the people and the society through his civic works, medical practices, and land development promotion of education and course, coming across with his one true love, Josephine Bracken. This exile helped strengthen in his nationalism, love for his family, and for the people of the Pitan. It was also in those moments where he suffered being harassed and threatened by the Spaniards. But even though Rizal was an exile in Dapitan, he was able to make the best of his situation. So, dito nakikita natin that this may serve as a reminder that no matter what lifestyle we lead, we are still capable of doing anything. We can make a difference even in the smallest and most insignificant ways. We, like Rizal, should not confine ourselves to a box. Even as an exile, our hero was able to accomplish good things. He didn't confine himself, instead, he accepted his surroundings. Dahil dito, Nakapagpatayo siya ng paaralan para sa kanyang mga estudyante, bahay pagamutan, kung saan niya ginagamot ang mga may sakit at iba pa. Dahil diyan sinabi niya kay Blumentritt na ang magagandang nangyari sa kanya sa Dapitan at sinabi niya ang hugis at kung ilan ang mga bahay niyang ginawa. So, it was the people who went looking for Rizal during the time. It was the parents who sent their children, and it was the people who traveled to have their eye checked. Rizal may be an exile, but he did not live like a prisoner. He did not let himself be confined by the threats of the Spaniards. This even urged him to strive more and stand up against them. And it seems that Rizal is a free prisoner in Dapitan. So, dito nakikita natin kung gaano ka-dedicate si Rizal dun sa kanyang mga nasimulan at sa kanyang pinaglalaban. Hindi siya nawala ng pag-asa kahit na pinatapon at pinarusahan siya ng mga Spaniards doon sa Dapitan or doon siya nilagi ng mga Spaniards sa Dapitan. Dito, nakita ni Rizal yung pagiging useful and peaceful niya or peaceful ng buhay niya. Kasi matandaan natin sa ibang chapters na naglalakbay si Rizal sa ibang bansa para mag-aral, hindi para mag-serve sa mga tao, hindi para gumamot, kundi mag-observe at mag-aral or i-enhance yung kanyang kakayahan. So now let's proceed to Rizal as physician in Dapitan. When Rizal landed in Dapitan, he was disappointed to find it unclean, unkept, and backward. He resolved to enhance it to the best of his God-given abilities and to raise the civic consciousness of its inhabitants. So that he wrote to Father Pastels that, "I want to do everything I can for this town." Aside from building the town's first water system, he spent months draining the marshes to rid Dapitan of malaria. As a European-trained physician, he was well aware that mosquitoes which thrive in marshy areas spread malaria. He also used 500 pesos from an English patient to outfit the town with its lighting system. So, this lighting system consists of coconut oil lamps installed in the Dapitan's dark streets. Electric illumination was not available in the Philippines at that time. The first electric lights were installed in Manila in 1894. Rizal's other communal endeavor was the beautification of Dapitan. So, he also rebuilt the town plaza with the assistance of his former Jesuit teacher and friend, Father Sanchez, in order to improve its appearance. He joked that he would make it nice enough to rival the best in Europe. In front of the church, Rizal and Father Sanchez constructed a massive relief map of Mindanao from of earth, stones, and grass. This map is still displayed. In the Dapitan Town's Plaza. So, dahil nag-aral at pinag-aralan niyang mabuti ang medicine nang nasa Dapitan siya, doon niya rin ginamot ang kanyang ina. Matagumpay niyang naoperahan ang mata ng kanyang ina, ngunit hindi ito nakikinig sa mga bilin ni Rizal na huwag tanggalin ang nakatakip dito para hindi ito ma-infection. So, pagkaraan ng ilang araw, nagkaroon nga ng complication kasi nalagyan ng dumi yung bagong opera ng mata na ginamot ulit. Pero ginamot ulit ito ni Rizal. Kaya doon nasabi ni Hidalgo na naiintindihan niya kung bakit ang doktor ay hindi niya ginagamot ang kanyang pamilya kasi nga salig dahil meron silang magaling na manggagamot. So, Rizal fame as a physician, he wrote to his buddy Dr. Marquez in Hong Kong, "The people here are so poor that I have to give them medicine for free." However, have some wealthy patients who paid him well for his medical abilities. As an eye specialist, your reach is extensive. He had patients from all over the Philippines, including Luzon, Bohol, Cebu, Panay, Negros, and Mindanao, as well as Hong Kong. Don Ignacio Tumarong, a wealthy Filipino patient, was able to see again because to Rizal ophthalmology skill, and he paid 3,000 in gratitude. An Englishman, another wealthy patient, paid 500 pesos. Don Florencio Azcárraga, a wealthy Aklan haciendero, was likewise cured of an eye disease and paid Rizal a shipment of sugar. Rizal grew interested in native medicine and the utilization of therapeutic herbs as a physician. He researched the medicinal plant of the Philippines and their therapeutic properties. He prescribed local medical plants to needy patients who couldn't afford imported drugs. So next is Rizal as engineer. So ano nga bang meron dito? Bilang isang surveyor na nakuha niya sa Ateneo, dinagdagan niya ang kanyang pagsasanay bilang isang surveyor sa pamamagitan ng kanyang pagbabasa tungkol sa engineering upang malaman ang tungkol dito. So, dito niya rin sa Dapitan inilapat ang kanyang kaalaman sa pagiging engineer sa pamamagitan ng paggawa ng water system upang mabigyan ng malinis na tubig ang mga tao dito. So, isa sa mga namangha sa kanya ang American engineer na si Cameron. So, ang sabi niya dito, ang isa pang sikat at kilalang supply ng tubig ay ang Dapitan, Mindanao na idinisenyo at itinayo ni Dr. Jose Rizal ng kanyang pagtatapon sa munisipalidad ng Dapitan. Ang supply na ito ay nagmumula sa isang maliit na batis ng bundok sa kabila ng ilog mula sa Dapitan at Falls. So, kung isaalang-alang ng isang tao na si Dr. Jose Rizal ay walang mga pampasabog na magagamit upang pasabugin ang matitigas na bato at walang mapagkukunan maliban sa kanyang sariling talino. So, hindi maaaring hindi bigyan ng karangalan ang isang tao na laban sa masamang mga kondisyon ay nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob at katatagan sa paggawa ng aqueduct na para sa ilalim ng mga flattered tile mula sa mga bubong ng bahay at natatakpan ng konkretong gawa sa apoy na sinunog mula sa sea coral. Ang haba ng aqueduct na ito ay ilang kilometro at ito ay pumapasok at lumalabas sa pagitan ng mga bato at dinadala sa mga gills sa mga tubo ng kawayan na itinataguyod ng mga bato o brick splurs patungo sa distribution reservoir. So, dahil sa pagiging magaling ni Rizal bilang isang engineer, marami ang namangha sa kanya dahil napakatalino niya para gumawa ng isang water system na kulang yung kanyang gamit. So, hindi niya inisip na kulang yung kanyang kagamitan para ganito, para ganon, mabuo yung water system, kundi nag-isip siya ng mga alternatives para gumawa ng konkretong water system. So, let's proceed to Rizal as businessman. So, while Rizal in Dapitan, he launched prosperous commercial operations in the fishing, copra, and hemp industry with Ramon Carrion, a Dapitan businessman. He asked his relatives, particularly Saturnina and Hidalgo, to visit Mindanao because the island has a vast and ample field of business. He specifically assured Saturnina that she might profitably engage in the textile, jewelry, and hemp business in Dapitan. So, in a letter to Hidalgo dated January 19, 1893, he stressed his desire to develop Dapitan's fishing business. He said that the two had a good beach like Calamba and that there are plenty of fish in the sea. However, the fishermen were only able to catch little fish using archaic fishing methods. As a result, he directed Hidalgo to assist him in purchasing a large net for troll fishing or puklutan, and to send him two good Calamba fishermen who could teach the Dapitans better fishing techniques. So, in Dapitan, Rizal's most profitable economic enterprise in Dapitan was the hemp industry. He once shipped 150 bales of hemp to a foreign firm in Manila, making a fortune for himself and his business partner. He bought him in Dapitan for 7 pesos and 4 reales per picul and sold it in Manila for 10 pesos and 4 reales, making a 3 pesos profit per picul. On July 31, 1894, he wrote to Blumentritt, "To kill time and also to help the people of this town, I have become a merchant. I buy abaca and have it shipped to Manila. This month fortune smiled on me. I made a 2,000 profit in one stroke." Then, on May 14, 1893, Rizal formed a business partnership in lime manufacturing with Ramon Carrion. Their lime burner could produce over 4,000 bags of lime each month. Rizal established the Cooperative Association of Dapitan Farmers on January 1, 1895, in order to break the Chinese monopoly on business in Dapitan. So the goal of Jose Rizal is to establish where to improve farm products, obtain better outlets for them, collect funds for their purchases, and assist producers and workers by establishing a store where they can buy prime commodities at reasonable prices. So let's proceed to Rizal as inventor. But most visible was his technology in irrigation. He said, "Where rice, fish, cocoa, fiber, sugar, oil, corn, coffee, various other products were more than sufficient." Rizal Dapitan community set the tone and pace for a technology-driven progressive Philippines through a multi-farming system supplied with his irrigation designed to make it productive, competitive, and sustainable. So, Rizal was the first to invent the first brick-making machine in the century. It was said to be producing 6,000 bricks a day, a project anticipating perhaps what was to be the first National Housing Authority's objective. With such a productive output, the machine must have been a sophisticated one. Also, he invented a cigarette lighter locally known as sulpukan, and this sulpukan which Rizal gave or sent it as a gift to some of his valued friends here and abroad, including Dr. Ferdinand Blumentritt. So last is my retreat. This is the last part of my topic. So Rizal narrates his exile in Dapitan in this poem, where he led an unremarkable but fruitful existence from 1892 to 1896. Even in exile, Rizal demonstrated that life may be abundant and full of accomplishments. He worked as a merchant and farmer and constructed tree houses out of bamboo, wood, and nipa. Surprisingly, his houses have a variety of mathematical shapes. So, this poem tells a story about someone who leaves the chaos of a modern world to be alone and reflect on nature. Whoever the author is, they say they retreat to repose to be at ease, so they can silence the grief of forget the stress of life. For a while, he is content with all around him, admiring nature. Then as he becomes lonely, he remembers that God is always with him. So, as we can see in these lines, a butterfly, a thirst for radiances and colors, dreaming of other skies and of a larger strife, I left scarcely a youth, my land and my affection, and vagrant everywhere, with no calms, with no terrors, squandered in foreign lands the April of my life. So here he tells us briefly of his faith and God's ability to always be with him. Then, as he sits, he is overcome with a sudden memory of all the things he saw as grief. He realized that they were what they were, and it is his choice to see them as he once did. Second, guessing his choice to stay and die in his own solitude, he decides to return to the world from which he once chose to retreat. Dapitan provided the ambience for Rizal to write poetry again, after a long hiatus. So, this described as loose but which better captures Rizal's literary style. My Retreat is a poem of longing and sadness, as would be expected of an exile, but these strong emotions are woven around Rizal's description of the interconnected webs of life around him in nature. What we see in My Retreat is a poetic rendition of environmental science, even if the term had not yet been coined in his time. There is a term used now in environmental conversation, from ridge to reef, emphasizing the need to connect conservation effort from upland areas down to our seas. Look for that connection in the stanza of My Retreat. So, in Exile, he compared himself to a weary swallow with broken wings, fate now sold to others and ruin everywhere. So, the last stanzas of My Retreat refers to Rizal's memory of those he had loved and of faithful friends, ending with ambivalence. I found in my land a refuge under a pleasant orchard, and in its shadow forest, serene tranquillity responds to my intellect and silence to my grief. That's all, thank you.